5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to From the Bench, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great day. We are back with another episode after a little bit of a break. We'll call it
Christmas layover.
Yeah, we'll call it the Christmas break. And this is going to be an all hockey episode.
Goddamn right it is, Eric.
Yeah, so
goddamn right it is.
We obviously this time of year we focus a lot on football. Football's the only sport that's going on. So obviously you're going to be focusing on that.
It was. Basketball started up now. Hockey's coming along. Me and Eric are pumped.
We get the World Juniors, so that's good. We got to watch Canada really take advantage of a German team that's missing a bunch of players. So
that was unfortunate.
Yeah, it is what it is. And then they obviously had a little bit of trouble there yesterday, but World Juniors, that's always a highlight for everything.
With the Q goalie.
Q goalie, you got
gave them troubles.
Yeah, well, Sam Halabajov is a heck of a goalie. Jordan Spence, the local guy from Moncton, defenseman, he scores the opening goal. So good to see. He's like a seventh defenseman, comes in, scores a goal, looks good. So yeah, we're not going to get into a whole lot of World Juniors right now. We're going to start off with some trades, and the Ottawa Senators, they have been
wheeling and dealing.
Man, they're busy. So the first one was a basic minor league deal. It was Zach Magwood from Ottawa to Nashville for Michael Carson. So don't know who either of those guys are. Hopefully, I see one of them had a point per game almost in the AHL. But see what goes on there. Next one. This one is a head scratcher a little bit.
A little bit of a shocker.
Yeah, it is the Arizona Cardinals trading Derek Stepan and that $6.5 million contract to the Ottawa Senators for a second-round pick, which I thought was kind of high.
I agree with you here. I like the trade, but I feel like we discussed this. Well, we're discussing it now, but maybe that was a little high for him. So I think they see him in a good, role for them. But still a second-round draft pick, Eric. A little high. I'll ponder. Would you flip a third for him for sure?
Well, I don't know because, like I said, you're giving up so much.
His totals the last couple of years, his numbers have gone down. Yes. Yeah. But he's actually, I think I noticed he's only actually 30, but he's played a lot of hockey. I think it's a great trade for Ottawa's standpoint for the young boys. You need to have great leadership, and he's been down there on the Oates team, who had a lot of young forwards, right? Am I correct? Or just a young team, period. Yeah. So he does that really well. I think this is a guy who's going to be great on your power play and stuff. And I'm almost thinking Ottawa does this to be more competitive in that Northern Division. I don't know. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
He was playing with the Rangers, and he was averaging over 50 points a game for years.
But he also was playing with better players.
Yeah,
more established.
From 2010 to 2016-17 with the Rangers, the lowest point total he hit was 44, and the highest one he hit was 57. So he was right in between that 45 to 57 point every year. Goes to the Coyotes, 82 games, 56 points. He's like, okay, well,
that was his best year.
That guy he's the same guy, right? He's gonna put up those 50 points. Except for the next year, he plays 72 games, gets 35 points. So probably full season would have hit a little over 40.
But people forget though that was one of the big years for injuries.
Yeah.
And then they had a couple of really bad years.
Yeah, and then last year the season ended early, but in 70 games he only had 28 points. So he's definitely not the guy that he was before.
He's digressed, yeah.
Yeah, so
point total wise.
He's got I think he's only got one left. Yeah, this is the last year, but 6.5. The thing is with the Senators is they have that room on their
big time
cap.
Space, yeah.
They just need a guy to come take take it. Even if he's a third line player for them, because you have Brady.
Reliable.
Yeah.
Play special teams like power play and penalty kill.
Exactly. Good guy in the locker room.
Good leadership.
But at the same time, I almost think that you're almost doing the Coyotes a favor.
You're bailing them out is what you're doing.
By giving them that.
Because everybody, remember, they do not have a first this year?
No.
And I don't think they have a second either. They do now. So they've been in desperation mode to unload some guys, which is kind of mind-boggling itself, Eric, because They just got back to the promised land, and technically didn't even make it. Like, they had to play in to get in.
Yeah, and
so that's interesting.
The GM that's in there now, he's going to be trying to fix a bunch of the stuff that the old GM did and some of the contracts he gave out. It's just is what it is. But I almost think you're almost doing them a favor. I think a second's too high for it. I think a third or maybe even a fourth. I think a fourth might have been kind of fair, and so I think Ottawa kind of overpaid. But at the same time, Ottawa has to get to that floor for cap space, right? Exactly. So they also have to overpay for a couple guys because they have the stupidest owner in all of hockey. And
let's not go there. Let's not go there with that.
We'll stay with that.
Pardon my French.
Yeah. The next one is one that came out yesterday. It is Tampa Bay getting Marian Gaborik, which I think maybe they're hoping they can just pick up Marian Gaborik and he'll become what he was before, especially if he's only a third-line player. Him and goalie Anders Nielsen, and they trade to Ottawa Cedric Paquette, Braden Coburn, and a 2022 second-round pick. So they give up a 2021 second to the Coyotes. They get a second back in 2022. I like the trade for Ottawa. I think that's one that they kind of came out ahead on, mainly just because Marian Gaborik is not good.
He's not playing this year.
Yeah. Oh, he's not?
No, he's still not. I don't think he's ever going to honestly play again.
Oh.
So, the only reason they do this is for cap space. Yeah. And I don't think, like I was saying, I don't think Andre Nielsen's playing either. I don't know if he hasn't. I think he just opted out, to be honest. I think he's healthy again. Don't quote me on that, but I'm positive he's not playing this year. Okay. That's why they do the trade.
Okay. Well, so there you go. Trevor's the insider over here. But yeah, as I said, they get a little bit of draft capital back. Obviously, Ottawa's not planning on being good probably this year. Maybe the year after, right? They're trying to be competitive though,
and they get more depth, right? Yeah. Like I said, I hate to say this, but I said this to Eric before we get on. What is it, Colburn? Is that how you say his name? The defenseman. He used to be really good, and then the NHL got a lot faster, and then he went to subpar. He's all right, and now he's a little long in the tooth. He's 35 years old. Last year of his deal, I think he's making 1.7 around there. It doesn't matter. But I like Eric. I'll totally agree with him. I love the trade for Ottawa. So you get these two older guys that can, who just come off a Stanley Cup run.
Yep.
Right?
So he's got that cup.
And Paquette is no pushover. He's a hell of a forechecker. He's going to probably get more of a chance offensively, really, because they could end up pushing him up the lineup. He's only 27. He's on the last year of his deal as well. I think Ottawa, you just get a little more depth. So if injuries hit and stuff, and you have more guys around, character guys who can show the young guys the way to do things right, become a true pro, in and out, and they're going to have their hands full, though.
Oh, I think so too.
That's a tough division,
Well, I think too. It's just you're adding players. You're adding a guy that's been there, that knows what he's doing on that back end, right? Just even if he's not the best, even if he's your third pairing defenseman, it's the same as in Colorado. Eric Johnson and Ian Cole. They're not the greatest defensemen anymore, right? But they kind of bring a stability back there.
Exactly.
That they can teach the young guys, and the young guys can go to them and talk to them. Kind of like. Referencing back to football, what goes on with in Miami right now with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua, you have those guys, right? Tua can go back to Fitzpatrick and he can talk to him. What do I do here? What do you think here? Same thing with the young defensemen, right? They think they're doing okay, but when you're young, you're always second guessing yourself, right? You're new to this league. You think you're doing good, but you got to know what you can get. What else can happen, right? So that's it for trades right now. That's pretty. I think that's quite a few Senators involved in every single one of them. Dorians doesn't understand that it was the off season, which is good. Like I said, it's nice to see some trades. You don't have to wait till the trade deadline.
And I'm pretty sure this just blows up some people's theories now that with all these divisions in Canada, la-di-da-di-da, how are they going to be able to trade? They'll make it work. I just feel as though trades are going to happen earlier.
Yeah.
Because they need to quarantine to come into our country, and that is what it is, people. It is what it is. So
yeah, and that's why you do them now, right?
Exactly.
They do it now. The guys can get here. They can do all their stuff. They can quarantine. They can do everything can happen both ways, right? Down to the States, down up here to Canada.
Exactly.
And that's the way it has to happen. And I know that's what they're going to be doing here with the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League with the trade deadline for them. They're all getting back. All their flights are booked for the Q for Moncton at least. Everyone's flying back into Moncton for the 3rd. of January. So everyone kind of is going to get their New Year's, everything else, and then they're all flying back. So then they have to do their quarantine from Quebec or wherever they're at, right? Obviously, some guys are going to be playing other places, but the 3rd is when everyone's coming back. So a lot of the trades for the Q are going to be happening. Obviously, we saw that today. Moncton Wildcats traded one player already, which is Jake Stewart, which is a defenseman. They traded him to PEI, but he knows now that, okay, I'm going to PEI. I'm not reporting back to Moncton. It is what it is.
Exactly.
Getting to the signing, so we're just going to go from oldest to newest. I think the last place we left off was Philip Myers, Moncton boy himself, once again. He signed a 3-year, $7.65 million contract, so the kid got paid. But good looks good on him. I said good young guy. He obviously wants to work. He's worked his way up the whole time.
I think that was a fair contract for both sides, though.
Yeah.
And, the sky's the limit for this guy. I still see him in the top 4.
Yep.
He's very young, and every time he's out there, every game, you could just see him improving. He's reliable defensively, but he's also no slouch offensively. He's a great two-way guy, and I think the sky's the limit.
There you go. Next one, we have a couple little minor deals, like a Mikhail Burden for the Jets. We don't know who that is. We got Justin Bailey, forward. He signed a 1-year, $750.
Who's that? I don't know who that is either.
Yeah, exactly. But we have
weird for me.
A guy that bet on himself and a guy that represented himself. So he did save some money on, instead of having an agent and everything else, save some money on fees there. But it is Anthony Duclair, former senator. He was thinking
so
in his
disappointed. You tell the story.
I'm gonna hold out. I'm gonna make $4 million a year because I'm a really good offensive forward. Maybe lacks a little bit on the defensive side.
What did he just put up back-to-back 20-goal seasons basically?
So yeah, he just put up. Well, he was.
Well, Eric Ganders on that, but I know for sure he did with Ottawa. But see, he's so streaky, people. Let's get that out of the way. So he comes out of the gate hot or he kind of struggles out of the gate. Then he gets hot, and he scores. I don't know. He's in the 20 range. He gets up to around 21 goals.
And then he goes cold.
And then he goes cold, and not for a month, but almost 6 weeks. He's missing in action. He hits some posts and stuff, but maybe he's squeezing the stick and he's thinking about it too much. But it's just the inconsistency with this player. This guy's got crazy when he was in the queue. He played for the Quebec Ramparts, was it?
Yeah.
I believe. Anyways, you could just see he had crazy skills, but he lacks a little bit in the defensive zone. He just kind of coasts around. I wish he'd tighten that up because he wouldn't be jumping from team to team here if it was not the case.
No, so obviously he originally got drafted by the Rangers. He was a part of.
He got traded to the Coyotes, was it?
That was the Kreider deal.
Or maybe he got traded.
Yeah,
he got drafted by.
He got drafted by the Rangers, traded to the Coyotes.
That's what it was.
He was with the Coyotes for the next 3 seasons. Half through the 3rd season, he gets traded to the Blackhawks. Then he doesn't stick there. He signs in the offseason with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Then he gets traded that year to the Ottawa Senators.
He was thrown in, wasn't he? That was part of the News Angle or one of those trades?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he spends 2 seasons in Ottawa. Last year he puts up 40 points, 23 goals, 17 assists, but like Trevor said, he went cold at points. So the year before he put up 33 points in, 74 games. So he missed 10 games. So, he's not the best, but he kind of said, look, I think I'm worth, I'm still a young guy. He's only 25 years old. I'm still a young guy.
Just going into his prime.
I'm gonna be good. I want $3 or $4 million a year. I want to represent myself. And he was holding out, and it didn't quite work out for him. So he signs a 1 point.
In a horrible situation. I kind of feel bad for Duclair at one point because this pandemic screwed a lot of guys.
Yeah.
And he's one of them. But when there's a multiple year deal there, and maybe it's a little bit a better deal for Ottawa. But just the security. He only signed a 1 year, 1.7 with Florida.
Yeah.
And.
Well, this is more of one of those prove-it deals, right?
For sure, I totally agree. But
hopefully some stuff gets figured out a little better here coming up. Get everything kind of situated. But like I said, it's 1.7. He's gonna have other guys down there that are good. Obviously, you could be playing with. Depends on what line you get on, but you have the chance to play with Huberdeau or
there's a lot of players. Yeah, there's
just go down through the list. Mm-hmm. So he's hoping, and I don't think his style of play fits really with the DJ Smith style of play. That's up there in Ottawa right now.
They got or who would they get from? No, they traded him away. Sorry. Okay, never mind. Yeah.
Chargers.
They traded away the 30-goal scorer to Carolina. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I said Anthony Duclair. Another guy who hasn't...
So we both like that deal, or what are we... I think he was a bonehead for people for not signing with Ottawa for whatever.
Yeah.
But he bet on himself, like Eric said. I don't know if he's going to win this in the end, because I honestly don't see him getting more than 2.5, over a couple of years.
Where he could have got, I think, they were
maybe on average, but I can't see you spending... You just don't know what you're going to get. If he shows he can score, if he scores 20 again this year... Maybe.
Yeah.
Like Eric was just saying, maybe he gets $4 million. Maybe you pay him 3.5, but I'm not giving him anything more than a 2 or 3 year deal.
No.
Right? We both agree on that. I know he's young as shit, but he's just inconsistent as shit.
Yeah, exactly. Next one, another guy that he hasn't quite signed yet, but he signed a professional tryout. This is another guy that kind of bet on himself and said, look, I'm going to, I want to make a bunch of money, and I think he should have made a bunch of money. I don't understand
He's
how
going to.
He hasn't. But for me, that is one Mr. Mike Hoffman. So Anthony Duclair comes in. He takes that Mike Hoffman role. I think that's what he's hoping for. Mike Hoffman was hoping for big, big money. This is a guy that puts up 25 to 30 goals every year. Literally it's been 27, 29, 26, 22, 36, and then 29. So he's put up points every year. Anywhere from 50 to 70 points. And, he was holding out. And everyone's like, well, how is this guy not signed yet? And I think he was hoping for a big contract, and now he's going down to St. Louis to do a PTO. They obviously had, what's his name? The guy that just retired?
Steiner.
So Steiner just goes off, leaves, so... he's going on long-term IR.
So is Fedotenko? Didn't he just have surgery again? I believe it's Fedotenko.
You mean Tarasenko?
What did I say? Fedotenko. Jesus. And he was one of my favorite St. Louis Blues, and I can't even get his name right. One of my favorite Russians. I'm a Russian lover. I've noticed that the other day. I am a Russian. I'm just gonna tell the podcast. I am a Russian lover. Oh my God. I pop a lot of Russian tires.
Is she not talking about Kucherov? Because Kucherov.
Oh my, Kucherov's no. He's going on long-term too.
Yeah. Well,
but there's somebody. If it's not him, there's somebody else I think's going on long term. Yeah. That's so they signed it to Eric just said. It's a PTO. It's a professional tryout. But the way that works is these guys can't be put on long term, reserve until the season starts. So I'm sure there's already a silent agreement. Once that happens, those two players' money go right off the books.
Yeah, well...
So, he'll be able to sign, a 1 year, $5 million or 4.5 or 6.5 1-year deal.
I think he was hoping...
But can we not agree I think, personally, it's a win-win for him, Mike Hoffman, because you're going to a competitive team where St. Louis should be one of those 4 playoff spots in that division. And I also like it for... St. Louis, because you lost goal scoring big time, and here you bring in and you lost your captain, and here you get Torrey Krug, which is not that much of a step off. Yeah, maybe you're losing a little bit defensively, you're losing some size there, but a hell of a defenseman, right? Puck mover, just two-way guy, period, who's coming from a winning team in Boston, so this is not a culture shock to him, and you're bringing in a little more scoring punch. What's the worst that can happen?
Yep.
You're committed to Torrey Krug, but a 1-year deal, let's say with Hoffman, you're loving it.
Well, and the thing is, too, with him is...
And he's motivated.
For him, he's going to be in the spotlight because now St. Louis is one of those teams that is a spotlight team, where a team like Florida, it's good to go get paid there, but you're not...
There's no pressure on
There's no pressure. Yeah, you're also not getting that limelight of, look, we're over here in... Florida, we're putting up good numbers. Barkov is one of the guys that never gets talked about. He's one of the better players in the league. Same with Jonathan.
Any other team, Eric.
Right?
Any other team, we're hearing about him every night.
Exactly, right? So, that's what you just get with some of these guys, right?
And as you guys can see, Eric's a Russian lover, too. Just kidding.
Yeah. I love one of my favorite Wildcats of all time. Is Barbashev.
Yeah,
so
he's a beauty.
It depends on it all depends on the play style. I like Barbashev because he plays that North American style, but he's a really good player. But For me, it's how you play. It's not where you're from, Trevor. It's how you.
No,
play.
I totally agree. Like, and now you're seeing like when people talk about they're gonna draft more Canadians. People like if you just watch the World Juniors, like there's good players everywhere. So, as long as you're drafting good players, doesn't matter what nationality or what country you come from.
Germany just got pumped 16-2 against Canada. Tim Stützle was the 3rd overall pick, right? The guy that won the MVP for the league this year came from Germany, right? So
exactly.
It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what country you're from. If you want to put in the work and you want to become good, you can become good no matter where you're from, right?
Exactly.
Just might not turn out so great for you on the big stage, but even yesterday, the Czech Republic goes out and beats Russia.
I love it. I wish I would have PVR'd that game. So I go to bed and I didn't watch that game, and the first thing I do when I wake up, because I'm a nerd, people, is I go check the scores and stuff on my score app, and then sure enough, I'm like, what in the heck?
Yeah.
Love it, though. I love it.
That's pretty good. But yeah, so like I said, wait to see what Mike Hoffman gets, but he's another guy that bet on himself. So look, I'll hold this out. I'll wait for somebody to actually, want me, pay me the money I want to get, and so we'll wait and see what happens there.
And we can, when that all plays out too, we'll let you know the numbers on his deal or whatever.
Yeah.
We'll recap it.
Another one. So this is a guy that was a bigger draft pick back in the day. He was supposed to be bigger, and then he kind of didn't really live up to the hype. He kind of got drafted in the 2nd round, but it was Oliver Kylington. So he's a Swedish player, came in, got drafted by the Calgary Flames, end of the 2nd round. At some point, people had him in the 1st round.
Defenseman, right?
Yeah, defenseman.
Yeah, he was a huge prospect. Yeah.
But he was had a really high. People liked him at the start of the year.
Everybody loved him.
And then he kind of fell off as the year went on. Obviously, fell to the end of the 2nd round. He's played for the Flames now for the last 2 seasons. Played with Stockton Heat for a couple games last year too. Hasn't really turned into the crazy player they were expecting, right? Even as a 2nd round player, you're almost hoping. But he had 38 games 2 years ago and 48 games last year. Put up 8 points and 7 points. His plus minus isn't terrible. He doesn't take a whole lot of penalties. So he's just he's a 6 foot, 183 pounds. He's
kind of a depth guy right now who's trying to find his way in the league. It's never a bad signing. Like, especially this year with the pandemic going on here and gonna go into this new year coming here along here soon. I feel like you cannot have enough depth guys, and I feel like that's why me and Eric already touched on it. But like Ottawa's trade with Tampa, it helps Tampa out because they need to get underneath that cap.
Yeah.
And they kind of got helped out too. Kucherov, he's having surgery, so he's going to be. Mm-hmm. But they're not shutting the door that he'll come back.
No, but see, if he comes back in the playoffs, you
won't count against the cap, right?
Exactly. So.
Perfect. It's so I'm not sure how that works, people. I just know in the regular season. So Patrick Kane did it. What? One of the years they won the
2011 or
did they win the cup that year?
I think
it doesn't matter.
One of the years.
But he was able to come back in the playoffs, and he went on a run.
Exactly.
He tore it up.
Oliver Kylington, he signs a 1 year $7,875 $100,000 deal. He's still an RFA, so I think this keeps him as an RFA for 1 more year. So they'll hold his rights after this year. But it gets him a 1 year deal. It's kind of that low risk.
And he went to Edmonton?
No, he stayed with Calgary. Yeah. Next one is something basic. It is a Coyote move. It is Drake Caggiula, which is a guy, for whatever reason, I've always remembered his name. He signed a 1 year $700,000 deal. So same thing, nothing crazy. Nothing.
With Arizona?
Yeah.
Perfect. I really like this kid. He's not a kid anymore. I think he's 26 or 27, but I just hope he can find a little more offensively. I want to see him stick in the league. He's a good player. So, and I think there's a little more there offensively. Like, he was buried in the depth chart. Like, I think last year he played most of the year on Chicago's 4th line or scratch. So, he's a character kid. He's not afraid to dip his shoulder in there and grind a little bit. But I think there's a little more there offensively. Wouldn't you agree?
I think so.
Just want to see him do well.
The Panthers. So all these teams, by the way, if anyone doesn't know, going into this whole thing, you're allowed to carry 3 goalies on your roster at all time, which is what obviously you want to do.
And you know what? This is something that should be adapted regardless, I think.
Yeah. The only problem that I have with it is that 3rd guy might just sit there on your practice squad and never even get a sniff on the ice. So it does hurt if it's a younger guy. You could be hurting his development. Same as some of these other players, right? You're bringing in all these other guys. where usually they'd be down in the AHL. Well, now they don't want them down in the AHL because they want them to be readily available in case of somebody testing positive or whatever it is. So this is what it is. But the Florida Panthers signed goalie Sam Montembeault to a 1-year, $700,000 deal. So I think he'll probably be that third goalie because obviously they have Spencer Knight for the Americans that are playing right now. He's going to be coming up in a couple of years, but they obviously have Bobrovsky. They have, I think it's Dreiger. I think it's the other guy that they have.
Yeah, and he came in and played lights out last year. Remember that?
Yeah, he was playing better than Bobrovsky at one point. But so he'll be the third goalie, I believe. But next one, Tampa Bay made a couple of deals. One of them is Eric Cernak, the defenseman. He gets a 3-year, $8.85 million contract. What do you think, Trevor?
I love it. Like, it works out great for him in Tampa. Tampa's laughing.
Yeah.
You know, Tampa got a gift with Kucherov, like we just said, going out. That really solved a lot of their issues. Yeah, they just dealt 2 guys out of there, but they're expiring contracts, and I'm pretty sure like Coburn wasn't coming back anyways at that point, right? He's 35 this year, so.
This guy's a Slovak, and he's got like literally the Ivan Drago haircut going on.
I love it. So he's got characters, whatever.
It is hockey.
But I think it's a good deal for both sides. He's just kind of getting his feet wet in the NHL here, so, you know, Tampa's done a really good job here, like, of drafting, developing guys. So, and it's not too often, Tampa kind of reminds me almost of, I want to say Detroit, because they're just still so good with their guys, their core guys and stuff, that they bring guys up, but they're not like 18 or 19. They're in their mid early 20s because they let them develop.
Yeah, so they're
not in a rush to get them.
Yeah, he came up and he played for the Erie Otters, and then he came and that was in 2015, so that was his draft year he played for them. After he got drafted, I think he went play for Erie Otters. Then he played 2 years there. Then he played for Syracuse for a year and a half, and then he came up to the NHL and hasn't left. Put up 16 points in his first season. Put up 12 points the next year. He's only 23 years old, so he's still a young guy.
So he's just getting started.
Yeah, but he's good on his own end. It's obviously plus minus on a team like Tampa that's going to score a ton of points. You have Andre Vasilevsky back there, but they really like him, so they're going to keep him around. The other one, they got another defenseman locked up. This one's for a little bit smaller deal, $1.3 million each year. It is a 2-year deal for Jan Aruta. So another guy that, like I said, they're just trying to lock up as many guys as possible. If they can get him to a smaller contract, even better. But Jan Aruta is now a 30-year-old. I didn't realize he's that old now. 30-year-old defenseman out of the Czech Republic. He's played with Tampa for the last 2 seasons, and then he put up 7 points. He's more of
he's a depth piece.
Yeah, he's like that 7th defenseman for you. Come in, play some third line, third defensive pairing minutes.
But you get him for next to nothing, right? And then you have they signed back Luke Shen, who is on league minimum. So you get these guys at a cheaper price on short-term deals for depth, and they're obviously going to use these guys because, like we just said, Coburn got traded. He only played 3 or 4 games in the playoffs. I didn't realize that. Bogosian played pretty much the entire playoffs, which I don't blame him. He's young. I know he's in Buffalo, and he's everybody says everybody in Buffalo is not worth a shit, which is false. But when you're on a bad team for years and years and years, you kind of get a bitter taste in your mouth. So to get rejuvenated with winners, his playoff run really rekindled his career, we'll say. But I know one thing, I'm pumped to have him in Toronto. So
there you go.
So I love the signing. To get back to what we were talking about, I love the signing. You cannot have enough depth guys, and some of these guys could step up.
Yeah, that's what we want, right?
And he's what did you? He's 30 though, this guy, but so he's a little more mature. But he's been around, and he knows his game. He knows what he can do, what he can't do. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. Next one we have Connor Sheary, who this just seems like yesterday. This guy was lighting up the league.
He's a beauty. I love the signing.
But he's 28 years old, American boy, signs with the
fast as shit.
Signs with the Washington Capitals for a 1-year, $735,000 deal. It's just wild, but he. It says it seems like a long time ago. Obviously he was just a kid in 2016, 2017. Put up 53 points in 61 games. Next year he comes in.
Crosby, what a beauty.
Oh yeah. Next year he comes out 79 games, so he's playing 20 more games almost. gets 30 points, so he drops down significantly. 34 the next year with Buffalo. Plays with Buffalo again, 55 games, 19 points. So he's dropping down, not quite producing like he used to. And then he gets traded to Pittsburgh, and he kind of a half a point every two games type of thing. So, but now Washington's got him, and they're going to try to see what they can do with them. So
he's the kind of guy can, you get a couple guys hurt, he can go up and down your lineup. I think that was just he caught fire in a bottle with Crosby one year or a couple of years, but he's still a good player, like all around. Like even if he's not producing the points, he's not a plug by any means. The guy's got offensive ability. He's fast. He's a smaller guy, but he's not afraid to go to the dirty areas to score goals. Like I find he's really noticeable in the playoffs. He just gets there and gets it done. Like I know, and especially for the league minimum, and he's 28 years old. You cannot have enough depth guys. I just think it's another perfect example of Washington doing what they know. Like they still have Hagelin, I believe, too, right?
Yeah, and he's been in the playoffs, right? So he gives you that playoff experience that a lot of teams obviously want to see. He's won it with Pittsburgh, so they said it's a nice signing for them and
more depth, and he kills penalties.
Yeah, exactly. This one might be Trevor's favorite signing out of the entire thing.
Which one's that?
For Nashville.
So why did he go back to Nashville?
Trevor loves. I remember Trevor went to go see.
I actually seen him live.
I was gonna say he went to go see the Oilers play against the Wild,
and that's when the Oilers sucked.
Oilers did suck.
They lost 3-0.
Well, they still suck, but
the best part was who shut them out?
Who?
Doobie? Their former Edmonton Oilers goaltender shuts his whole team out. It was priceless.
But Michael Granlund, Trevor's like, man, this guy is just buzzing around. He's flying.
He's a beauty.
Awesome. So Michael Granlund, or Mikael Granlund, signs a 1-year, $3.75 million deal. Another one where he's just like, look, I'll take a 1-year deal and we'll figure out what's going on.
Let's be honest. Last year he was shit for Nashville, but he wasn't the only forward that was shit.
No.
I still think there's a lot there. Like he was really good for the Wild for multiple years, and he's young. He's 26, 27, I believe.
He's 28.
So when I first saw that trade and Nashville got him, I was like, what a steal. And then obviously it didn't work out. Like he's just not really fit in there. So I'm kind of intrigued. He goes back. He just came from there. He goes back on a 1-year deal. Like Eric said, kind of a prove-it thing. I don't know. There's a lot of change there. They got rid of some forwards. They got, they bought out. I'm trying to think of his name. He went to Edmonton.
That's fine. We'll move on. Well, Trevor's trying to think of this for the next half an hour.
Move on. Then what do you think, though? You like it or no? Or?
No. So he was the 9th overall pick back in 2010, which you always forget that how high it's taken.
He's a good offensive player.
But yeah, so he goes to the NHL, plays pretty well right out of the gates. He's put up 40, 39, 44. Then he really takes off. Puts up 69 points, 67 points. And then finishes off his Minnesota Wild career with 49 points.
I was shocked they traded him.
That was the year that he got traded. He finished off the year with 54 points. So he was still around that same thing, that same, area
where you want to be for a top 6 forward.
Exactly. Sure. And then last year he takes a big step back, like a lot of people. But he only put up 30 points in 63 games.
That whole team was horrible, though.
Yeah. So 17 goals, 13 assists. He just didn't do a whole lot. Playoffs, he's always been okay in the playoffs, but never had any huge, super deep runs or anything like that. But yeah, so he's betting on himself that, look, last year, that was just a blip, right? I am a 50-point guy every year, or 50, 60-point guy, which should get me at this point $5 or $6 million a year, $7 million a year, whatever you want to kind of go with. So he says, look, I'm going to take a 1-year deal. I'm going to come in and I'll light it up. See what you can do. So a lot of these guys, that's my only problem with contract years is you hope that, and obviously last year was his contract year, so obviously he didn't produce the way he wanted to. So at that point you're like, okay, maybe he's just turning it on for the contract year, but hopefully this year he really buckles down. And it was a weird year for a lot of people, right?
I think there's more there, though. Like I was really disappointed. Like Eric said, his numbers were solid.
Yeah.
Great in Minnesota, so it was kind of shocking. He gets, what everybody thinks is going to be a better team in Nashville, and really they were just garbage. Like they were lucky to make the playoffs, and they didn't do anything in the playoffs. So I don't know. So I was kind of disappointed he went back there, but He went back there. He's only put on 2 teams. He signs a 1-year deal. Prove it. Maybe he'll have a breakout year. We'll all come together for him, and he'll get paid. So
here's hoping.
Yeah,
next one is the 24-year-old goalie for the New Jersey Devils. This is one Mackenzie Blackwood. So second round pick for the Devils back in 2015. Gets in the NHL the last 2 years. So played 23 games 2 years ago. Played 47 games last year.
On a shit team, boy.
Shit team. But still put up a decent 918, 915 save percentage.
He's unreal now.
So he's playing pretty good both years, right? That's a good save percentage. You don't want to keep above that 915
on a super bad team.
So his goals against average weren't the best. Shutouts, everything else, it is what it is. He's had 3 shutouts last year, 2 the year before. So, they're saying this is the guy we want to kind of build around. So they give him a 3-year, $8.4 million deal. Same thing, give him a...
And brought in some help behind him, too.
Yep.
Crawford's no slouch. He's won multiple cups in Chicago. So that's going to be great little setup, I think, for both of them.
Exactly. Tampa, they signed 2 forwards after they signed those 2 defensemen. So they get an Alexander Volkov for 1 year, $700,000. And then they signed Matthew Joseph, forward that played in the Q. He signs a 2-year, $1.475 million contract. So same thing around that $700,000.
He was great, not last year. Last year he played a lot of it in the minors, unfortunately.
Yeah. Just
because of the players they brought in. But the year before, he was a regular on the team, and he was great. So this is a great move for them. They get him cheap, which they need, right? Depth guys cheap because they have salary cap, issues right now. They're kind of clogged up that way because they have so many good players. That's what happens with the cap.
What happens when you get a cap and then you start winning, and all these guys say, "Well, hey, I
need a taste."
Exactly. I won this cup for you, or I was part of that cup winning team. Look, I'm a winner. I want this much money, right?
Show me the money.
Yeah, exactly. Canadians signed Michael Furlick to a 1 year, $750,000 contract. Eric Holla, which Trevor and I both like, obviously played for a couple teams over the last couple of years.
But shine for Vegas.
Played good for the Wild back even when McGranlin was there.
Buried in the
He
depth
signed 1 year, $1.75 with the Nashville Predators. So
another steal for them.
Yeah, get another guy in there, just trying to bring that team around.
They traded Benino too, right?
Yeah. Next one, Buffalo. They signed Casey Middlestat. So this is the guy that obviously was a big guy back.
High draft pick,
and he just
big expectations.
Big expectations.
They brought him in the league too early.
Yeah, so he's only 22 years old. He's the 8th overall pick.
What draft was that? Is that?
That's 2017. So
I'm 8th? No, that wasn't the year Willie. We got Willie.
So he played. He's a U.S. boy, so he played for the Big Ten. Played in Minnesota. Comes up the same year he played for University of Minnesota. Puts up almost a point a game right away. Six games, puts up 5 points, 1 goal, 4 assists. So everyone in Buffalo was like, "Holy crap! We got a kid here.
We got a player.
This is gonna be awesome." Next year he goes in 77 games, so becomes a full-time starter. Puts up 25 points. Not exactly that almost point a game player that you were expecting.
Close, boy.
So he's really, obviously struggling at that point. Puts up 12 goals, 13 assists. Last year he goes in the NHL, 31 games, 4 goals, 5 assists for 9 points. So he's now at this point he's averaging a point every 3 games, which is not what you want out of the 8th overall pick. So they send him down to the AHL, and in the AHL he produces a little better. 36 games, he puts up 9 goals, 16 assists for 25 points. His plus minus is never good, but that could be also the team that he's playing on, right? If Buffalo kind of stunk,
exactly.
So what do you want from them? They're stinking. It's hard to give the guy a lot of help there on the back end.
It could be misleading. That's all.
Yeah, and the plus minus always is, but it is what it is. They're trying to give this kid another shot. Trying to say, here, we'll help you out. We'll give you the...
He's only 23, right? He's too
22,
young to
yeah.
22. He's too young to give up on yet.
No, exactly, right? But they're like, look, we're not going to pay you a big deal here. You're not getting a a Matthews, a Marner, whatever. You're not getting the 3 or 4 or 5 million.
He's behind the curve a little bit.
We don't know what you're going to be. If anything, we might just cut our loss with you and we'll ship you off to the next team that they can try to figure it out. Another guy that came back, and this is kind of, I think, that 3-goalie system. That's why you kind of see guys like this coming back. It is one Mr. Ryan Miller for the Ducks. He's going back to them, returning for 1 year, $1 million. That's a good little Christmas present for him, right? You get $1 million.
Freaking right.
But yeah, so I said, for the Ducks.
In 56 games, which we know Gibson's going to get the majority of them because he's a plug. Like, not a plug, sorry, but he's just a spark. He likes the workload. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Trevor means you just plug him in.
Yeah, and he's going to play a lot of games.
Exactly. Tampa, once again, they're busy over here just trying to sign everybody they can. It is Anthony Cirelli, the forward. He signs a 3-year, $14.4 million contract. So big contract for this guy, obviously.
And they're lucky they get him under 5 a year, so it's like 4.8, I believe, a year, which is a great deal for them. So not only did they get a good deal on him, but the year previous when they got a great deal on Point, now they're laughing. So, but I think they still have cap crunch. I don't know what's going to go on with Johnson. I don't know if they're going to bury him in the minors. Who knows?
Yeah, it's you'll have to figure something out. That's the joys of winning, right? So he put up.
Maybe they'll be okay now that when they put Kucherov on long term, but
yeah,
we'll see.
So he's 23 years old. He was a 3rd-round pick. Played 3 NHL seasons now. He had 18 games his first year. Put up 11 points. Then he comes out, puts up 39 points in 82 games 2 years ago, and then this past year was kind of his breakout season, where he puts up 44 points, 16 goals, 28 assists in 68 games. But he's really solid, like in his own end. So
I think he was like top 2-line center, was he not? Like he's the 2nd-line center behind or 3rd for sure. Yeah. No, he was 2nd, wasn't he?
2nd. He's just a really good player. He's young, like I said, he's only 23. I think they see him as this guy that's going to be a really good 2-way forward for him.
Memorial Cup too. He just got a knack for scoring big goals.
Yeah, so he's just a really good player, right?
Like Eric said, really good 2-way guy.
Yeah.
And he's just a winner. It's the guy you want around.
Trying to catch up on all these. So the next one, the Edmonton Oilers. They're obviously hurting. They have Oscar Klefbom come out, and he's going to miss the entire season.
Big blow to them.
Which is going to be a big blow to them. Tyson Barrie's going to get all the power play minute times. So he's going to, if you don't think that Tyson Barrie's going to put up 60 points again this year, you're crazy.
As long as none of them against Toronto.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of somebody that got my expansive draft, Tyson Barrie.
There you go. So they picked up on a 1-year deal. They picked up Slater Koekkoek.
Thank God Eric said that because I don't even know what I'd say.
At $850,000. So that's just a depth guy. You're just trying to add to that defensive core, which is already struggling. The defense on the Oilers has never been the strongest. Point.
Kind of like Toronto.
Yeah.
But Toronto's will hope, knock on wood.
Try to find wood to knock on here.
Fake wood. I hope there will be significantly better with TJ Brody in the fold. So we'll see though.
Yeah. Hey, it's hard when
you don't know until you play actual games, and we're gonna get no exhibition games. So
it's like
the NBA.
It's the same thing as before, right? You got all these guys. You're paying them this much money right off the bat. It's hard, right? You gotta try to fill up the rest of the holes. Chicago, they're obviously going to be missing a couple guys here. They're signing Carl Soderberg, the former Avalanche player, to and Bruin to a 1-year, $1 million. He was a good two-way forward.
Big forward too.
Put him as a
good in the face-off circle.
Yeah, put him as a 3rd or 4th now at this point in his career.
Good depth guy. Good, scores goals.
Yeah.
He can score and kill penalties. He does it all.
Yeah. So
good player to have in the playoffs.
Exactly. For $1 million, what do you want, right? So
can't go wrong.
I always remember Soderberg as they had Spit and Chicklets had Tyson Barrie and Eric Johnson on like 2 seasons ago, and they're talking about McKinnon. They're like, hey, how do you guys keep up with this guy? Like, he is just absolutely buzzing around. Like, how do you do drills against this guy, like McKinnon and this and that, and Rantanen and Landeskog, and Tyson Barrie's like, Yeah, you definitely know it. He goes, you're definitely trying to pick your spot in practice. He goes, I'm always trying to be out there lined up against guys like, I'm always trying to line up against like a guy like Soderbergh or whatever. He was like, oh, that's a ricochet shot. Like, he just buried the teammate saying that he's honestly slower or whatever, right? Or easier to go against in practice. So, it's kind of funny. Next one, this guy, played big in the playoffs. He's that greaseball player that, that the Dallas Stars loved over there. Everybody hates him. It is one Mr. Corey Perry. So he signs a 1-year, $750,000 contract with the Montreal Canadiens. And it fits into that, if they want to be that rough and tumble, greasy team, you already got a Gallagher there that kind of plays that same Marchand
They've
role.
got a lot of them, man.
Yeah, I guess he fits into the mold of what they like to do.
Maybe they just put him on the taxi squad until playoffs come around.
Well, it's at the same time.
Because, he didn't do too much in the regular season last year, but man, he was a key cog there for Dallas in the playoffs.
Well, yeah.
He just had it going on.
He really
just doing his thing.
He's a guy. People forget he won the Hart Trophy 1 year.
And man, this is a former sniper. Like, this guy could do no wrong. Him and Getzlaf together. Anaheim won a cup off these two young bucks.
Yeah.
So, and he's done it right his whole career, and he is who he is. But boy, he's feisty, and I love him.
Yeah, because he only put up
little sandpaper.
He only put up 5 goals last year in
the regular
57 games, but put up 5 goals in 27 games in the playoffs, right? So, not like the greatest player anymore. Obviously, he's a little long in the tooth. He's now 35 years old. Corey Perry is 35 years old.
It's crazy how time flies, man. Which is not good for Trevor, because Trevor is, I am going to turn 34 in January.
Oh my God, man,
so,
what is going on?
Eric's younger than I am, the lucky bugger, and he's got a lot less gray hairs.
A couple less, not a whole lot less.
You should see his beard, he doesn't look like mine.
No, my beard's pretty good. My beard is definitely a little less. You guys can see it on the... Trevor's got a little more salt and pepper.
I got a lot.
If you're on YouTube, you can kind of see this.
It's really gone down the shitter, boy. But it is what it is, It means I got some, some sandpaper finish. That's all it is.
Like I said, in Corey Perry, he seemed to already, even when he was playing for Dallas, right? He understands that he's not a first-line player anymore. Understands he's not a second-line player anymore. So it's nice that he's a veteran that has accepted the role of a third-line player, right?
And he does it well.
And his play style kind of works towards that because he's a greaseball. Right?
Well, he's a playoff guy, just like Maroon. Maybe Maroon's numbers aren't the greatest the last regular season with Tampa, but they see the value in him. First thing they do in the offseason is they sign him back.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more than league minimum, but I think he deserves that little bump up in pay.
Well, that's it, right? So it's...
He shows up every day to the rink. Everybody wants to be around him. He's a character guy. He does it the right way.
If you guys ever want to hear some stories about Corey Perry, we talk about other podcasts on here and stuff, but go listen to the Ryan Getzlaf episode on Spit and Chicklets. It is hilarious because Ryan Getzlaf just buried.
He's like, why'd you do that, Perry? He's like, do what?
Yeah. Why did he go? What do you mean? What? I didn't do anything. He's like, you just punched the goalie in the head and then fell on him. Like, what do you mean? He's like,
did I?
Yeah. He's like, I'm pretty sure he just blocks it out immediately out of his brain, and so that's just kind of funny that's the way Corey Perry is.
Those are the guys you want to play with there.
You want to play for
because you don't want to play against them, but you want to play with them
because they just drive. We all played.
Another Darcy Tucker, boy.
We all played with guys like that, right? We all had guys like that on teams that we cheer for.
Fact.
And you're like, yeah, I hate that guy. I can't stand him. But if he was, doing the, if he's on my team, I love him. If he's not on my team, I hate him, right? So it's Landeskog's the same.
I was hoping he would sign with Toronto.
Yeah.
But I just knew we're kind of up against it. As in, I don't know what he'd do. You probably have to be in the taxi squad. I don't know how all that's going to work. I can't wait till the NHL explains that a little bit further. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, they haven't really
but I think this is something they should look at.
Yeah. No, it's
a great idea.
It's
especially the 3 goalie system. That's the best.
Yeah, like I said,
honestly,
I think that's the place where you get a Ryan Miller. That's where you get a Craig
Anderson.
Craig Anderson signed.
Did we talk about that yet?
So he signed a PTO with the Washington Capitals. So get one of these older guys that are.
Did you mention Hank?
Oh, so yeah. So by the way, Craig Anderson, I was getting to that. Okay. Craig Anderson signs a professional tryout with the Washington Capitals. Why do the Washington Capitals need him? Need to bring Craig Anderson? Well, it's because that obviously they signed Hank Lundqvist in the offseason to come be their backup goalie / part-time starter, right? You never know what Ilya Samsonov is going to be for them.
Exactly.
And he finds out that he's got a heart issue.
He's actually having open heart surgery soon.
Yeah, so now it's come out that he's actually going to have open heart surgery, so he's going to miss the entire season. He's hoping to come back and play probably another year, another 2 years. He's obviously getting longer in the tooth, and I guess it all depends on how the surgery goes, right? Like
exactly.
If it goes good, it goes good, great, perfect, awesome.
Get well, Hank.
Maybe he can get back, but you never know, right? Maybe the doctors are like, look, we did the surgery.
Take it easy.
Your playing days are numbered, right? Like
are done.
It's nice. You had a long career. I understand he doesn't want to go out like that, right? Especially
nobody does. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and that's
especially Hank.
He was so good for so long, right? Yeah. That was the thing. But so now obviously they need a backup, quarterback down there in
Washington.
In Washington, and or back quarterback in Washington. This football thing. Backup goalie. I was
waiting for him to correct himself. I was going to go there.
Backup goalie down there. So they went and said, "Look,
do we like Craig Anderson? Trevor still does."
I understand what Craig Anderson is. I don't want him as a starter.
No, but I think he can come in and give you some good games.
I think Craig Anderson Craig Anderson was never
because Ottawa sucked last year and he played some good games last year.
Yeah, but he's another one that's now he's older. He's older. Hasn't had hair in a decade, which is
forever.
But he's obviously gone through a lot of stuff. It's awesome to see what that guy's been able to accomplish. Former Colorado Avalanche, Craig Anderson.
That's right. Florida Panther as well.
Yeah, I always remember Craig Anderson as the goalie. It was one of the years that Colorado had no business being in the playoffs, and they played against the San Jose Sharks when San Jose was on a freaking roll, and he had like a 48 or 49 save shutout, and then it goes to overtime. And San Jose ended up scoring on themselves. That's how Colorado won the game.
It doesn't even matter though.
I'll always remember that game and always remember Craig Anderson for it.
But Craig Anderson, people, the most winnings goalie in the Senators' history. The only one who's behind him with wins would be Lalime.
I was going to say
he's behind him by a significant amount. I wish I could give you the numbers. I saw it last night, but that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So Murray's got his hands full here. He's got to carry the payload for them. And he's gonna do well here. I think he's this is a great opportunity for him to grow with his team. Hopefully Ottawa plays decent in front of him and they don't hang him out to dry because he left a good situation in Pittsburgh, but there's another goalie that doesn't have anything really behind him for support, and let's hope he doesn't have a brain fart.
They'll probably have I think they have Gustafson or one of those guys behind them.
Well, they still have they have a couple guys there they had before, but
and like I said,
I'm just saying
Murray had other years obviously through his career here. He had 930 save percent, 923. Then he dropped to 907. Then he was up to 919. Last year though,
he's never stayed healthy.
Definitely was the issue with them. Last year in
38 games, he was
an 8.99, so he's just under that 9. Not what you want to see.
Ever starting goaltender?
No. 2 wants a big contract, but hoping that maybe a change of scenery. Maybe he just didn't like the thought of having another guy behind him, right? Another young guy with Tristan Jarry. Maybe that kind of riled him a little bit. You never know, right? So it all depends on.
Some goalies are like that. They need to be clear-cut number one, like you just said.
Yeah.
And some goalies don't give a shit. Like half competition, don't bug them, and they're still going to go out there and do their thing.
Exactly. So, obviously, 2-time Stanley Cup winner. So he's done everything he kind of wanted to over his career. Tim Stützle also, he signed his entry-level contract,
which is exciting,
with the Ottawa Senators. So I'm assuming he's going to leave that bubble for the
Ottawa juniors,
and he's going to go right to Ottawa, and they'll have him there, and because what's the point of him going to play in Germany? It's just probably not.
I'm not going to lie to you. On Stützle, I'm watching Byfield, and I like Byfield a lot. But man, like last year, we seen the number 1 overall pick come in and just dominate for Canada.
Yeah.
Right? And we're not seeing that from Byfield. Are you worried a little bit?
They play a different game though too. Right?
But they're not asking him to score right now. He's on more of a shutdown line.
He's on like the third line.
They're on the third line with Pelche, and they've been rotating the other guy because Holloway got hurt. But
yeah,
what is the other guy? It doesn't matter.
Anyways.
But he's more on a shutdown line.
Yeah, because
So what do you think? Are you a little worried or what? I don't know.
they said a lot of people that was a big thing last year, right? Because obviously Lafreniere, the big talk last year was who's going to be first overall, who's going to be second overall, is it going to be Lafreniere, is it going to be Byfield? And everyone did say, and it was a good point, look at Lafreniere the year before, right? Because Lafreniere has a late birthday.
It was kind of quiet.
So he wasn't as explosive the year before.
And wasn't putting up the points.
But now he's the first overall pick. So, last World Juniors he was,
he
dominated it. And that, it kind of put him even up a higher level over Quinton Byfield. But now they're the same age, right? This is the same age this year.
And this is his second go-around.
His second go-around. And he's got to kind of shine. And maybe it's the coaches haven't put him in that position. Maybe they just said, we want you in this more of a big hitting. He does look, he's huge. He's huge out there. Like, he's a big boy.
He put some weight on, you can tell.
Yeah, he's trying.
Maybe that could be too, though, Eric. I was thinking about that. That could be the adjustment. He's learning how to play bigger. I know people that sounds really stupid, but when you put on 20 pounds or 15 pounds and you're not used to playing hockey that way, it's a little bit of an adjustment.
Yeah, that might be something that the LA Kings, they drafted him. They said, look, we're drafting you, we're picking you up. Get on it, like start eating.
Because he's got a man body, he just needs to fill out a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So getting into all that, see what they can do with them, but it doesn't really worry me. But it's definitely something that you'd like to see a little more of them.
Yeah, a little more offense.
Now we're still early in, right? They haven't really played a good team.
Well, I don't know. They got challenged their last game, but
that was more of a
grinded out game.
Yeah, that was one of those games where it's like, we took them a little lightly. They were trying to get a little too fancy. They didn't want to do a screen, Obviously, they needed
that fourth line for Team Canada, boy. They're scoring, man. Dawson, Mercer, he was the 13th forward, eh? They don't want to give him a spot. They don't want to give him minutes, but man, he produces.
This is a good old.
Oh, speaking of another guy who signed his entry contract level right there is Dawson Mercer with the Devils.
Yeah.
So congrats, big guy. Looking forward to seeing you in the big show.
Man, you get some of these kids out there, man.
That new hook though is some fun to watch. Because I was a little confused. I was like, why is this guy in the second line center?
Just want to put it out there.
He's unreal.
Colorado's doing pretty good with their whole drafting, developing, and the guys they're picking.
I'll tell you one thing, man. Byron and Jamie Drysdale, they're fun to watch.
Jamie,
did you see the way they skate in the offensive line?
Yeah.
And walk the blue line, people is fun hockey to watch.
Yeah. But you gotta get the guy. Like that's the one problem I had with Canada was trying to get a little too fancy last game. Sometimes you do just need that.
Fire the puck at the net.
Yeah.
The net.
Get some guys in.
Playoff hockey kind of, yeah.
But Bowen Byron, he's had a couple. He had the turnover that led to the big save by Levy against Tim Stützle.
That's gonna happen though.
But it's gonna happen, but he's had some big hits. He's got big hits against him. But it's exciting, like I said, to see what they do. Obviously, Canada's a favorite. Obviously, having somebody like Kirby Dach fracture his wrist.
That's unbelievable. They just ran into each other too. It wasn't like a big collision.
Just whatever it
shitty
was. Luck. I've been there. I fractured my wrist. It's not a fun time.
No, it's.
But it's. They said he'll be out for the next 7 weeks probably, and then it's getting some strength back into it afterwards.
Back to the show.
So he'll be back. He'll probably back say end of February, give or take, right?
But that's exactly why.
That's why they don't want to let Fernet go.
Exactly where I was going with
People
that.
wonder all the time, why do you not want, just let these kids go play, blah, blah. This is the reason why. It's the same thing as
It's a business, people. The Rangers have money invested. The Rangers are totally turned around here, and they're expecting to make the playoffs this year.
Yes, right.
I know people are going to say, like, oh, blah, blah. I'm telling you, the Rangers expect to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, that's
he's a big part of it.
That's the thing, right? You have so much money into these guys that it's a huge thing. And to not have a guy like that on your team, it's the same thing when Tavares went out years ago or Stamkos went out and broke his leg, right?
Yeah, that was horrible. And didn't make the Olympic team because of it.
Yeah.
Wasn't the full, yeah.
That was for the Olympics.
That was horrible.
That was in the Olympics.
Did he broke his leg? I thought it was right before the Olympics. He made the team and broke it in Tampa, I think. But anyways,
whatever it was.
Don't quote me on that. We'll find out and let you know next podcast.
I'm telling you right now.
That was one of the nastiest injuries, though.
Trevor is not going to find that out and not going to remember to tell anybody next week. So don't even hold your breath.
I know, but I'm telling you, he broke it before the Olympics because he was supposed to. He made the team, I'm pretty sure, and it happened right before the break.
I thought it was a thing where it was like during like the warm up, like during like the inter squad game or something like that. I thought, but
no,
maybe I'm wrong.
I think it was NHL play.
But anyways,
I could be wrong.
Past all that,
I won't give him shit.
We're just rambling at this point. But that's what happens, right? You just don't want to take the risk of having these guys, right? Because now
it's a business.
Because now Chicago's not going to have their one of their good players for the next 2 months, right? So they're starting on the 13th of January. Well, they're not going to have them until the middle or end of February, right? So you're missing one of your key young pieces for a long time. You had a lot of, obviously, you have big and high expectations for that kid. He's going to be on your roster. You're going to have to bring him back, and then he's, now you got to work through that wrist thing, and now he's got to try to figure it out and get some more strength. Because I've been there. You put your hand in a cast for 6-7 weeks. It's not great. You lose. No,
and then you're gonna do physio, and
it's terrible.
It's a grind.
So
and he'll never have so they're already playing the NHL regular season, so he's behind already when it comes to hockey shape, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And he won't have to strengthen that wrist because he really be able to strengthen it to a certain extent, but not.
Yeah, the only thing with a wrist or an arm or a hand or anything like that is you can still be in condition, right? You can still not run, but you can jump on the bike and ride the bikes for.
But I mean, hockey shape, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if Eric's played the whole season, just like Nylander a couple of years ago when he sat out. That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
When he sat out holding up for the new contract, and he comes back. Now he looked good, but he was just off because they played for months, right? Like everybody's just that far ahead of him, so he was just never right that year. And then he comes back the next year and he takes off. So that's all I'm saying, people. It's just hard to jump in the fold when guys have already been playing.
It'd be good. Like I said, there's already some stuff going on. Obviously, Dustin Wolf's kind of seemed to take that starting goaltender job for the USA team. Spencer Knight, obviously big first round pick for the Panthers. He did not look good.
Wolf, he's drafted by Calgary, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah, he's just a young guy. I actually picked him up one of my NHL games last year, year before. Had him starting for me at some points down the AHL. Tried to develop him, but Spencer Knight,
Have you seen the goalies I had in that? Blow your mind.
Russia, they've had their goalie. They have that guy that Nashville took this last year in the first round.
He's looked good, man. He's just been not getting much help from his team.
No, so that's weird.
A lot of the goals are outstanding goals. They're just.
Well, even yesterday,
he has no chance.
They lost 2-0, right? So
yeah.
It is what it is. Even against Team Canada.
But it's exciting to see him play.
Yeah, even against Team Canada, though, in that preseason game.
He was dominant.
He looked really good. So
he did.
He's one of those guys that you worry about.
Yeah, you don't want to see them later on. I agree. Dude.
No,
he gets hot and look the fuck out.
I was talking to my buddy Chad. He was here last night watching the football games, and we were talking about a bunch of stuff. And I said we were watching Team Canada play against Slovakia, and I said, "Well, look, this is Sam Havalajov for Sherbrooke, and he's really, really good." And I said that he was one of the guys. If the Wildcats made it to the playoffs, obviously they're gonna make it there. But if they had to play a guy like a Sam Havalajov, that's a guy that could steal the series from you, right? Even no matter how good you are, that's what you kind of worry about. But wait and see. Canada's gonna be playing Finland. Are they playing Finland today?
Especially when you're playing one game, especially when you're trying to advance on the tournament and you get to the gold medal round, we're not in a round robin like we are now. That's all it takes to run into a hot goalie, man, and you're screwed. You're done.
Yeah.
Goodbye. It's not the best out of 7. It's not the best out of 5. It's just like football. You show up, one and done. So you better bring her that day, or you're screw-diddled. So
that's it.
Anyways, he's fun to watch. Watch the Russian team. The Americans are pretty good as well. The Finns are they're always good. The Finns, and then obviously you got the crazy Sweden team that's still on a crazy run and haven't lost in the round robin yet. But it's coming, I imagine. They probably trade all those wins in for a gold medal, like I would, because they have not been doing well when it comes to the medal rounds.
No, the Finns have got 2 of the last 7 years or something like that.
They're quietly really good.
Yeah, so we're gonna be playing them. That's the last.
I can't wait. That's tomorrow, I think.
30. I was just looking at it here. We're the 28th today. They're gonna be playing on. They're playing on the 31st, so they're playing Thursday. So a couple more days away. They're three days away. We're playing Switzerland between that now and then. So
Swiss must be tomorrow.
Swiss is tomorrow. Yep, yeah. Tuesday. There we go. Anyways, but I think that'll be it. Like I said, we tried to get some good hockey podcasts. We just wanted to get the signings and trades.
Some good hockey talk, I think.
Just some.
We rambled a little bit too, which is classic. You know, you gotta get some rambling in there and some opinions and the whole nines. I like it. It was a good episode.
Yeah, like I said, we'll probably be back again this week, and we'll have another football podcast. We'll be talking kind of the results of this last week, what we think. Obviously, it's going to be down to the nitty gritty here. We're coming from week 17, so we should have a.
You taking Buffalo tonight?
Pretty good idea. Yeah, I don't know who
they're playing New England. You got Buffalo tonight?
Yeah, Buffalo. Yeah.
Jeez, you hear he stuttered over here. I'm like, are you kidding me, boy?
Oh my God.
Any chance he gets to take against New England, boy? And he stabbed, and he like. Anyways, that's awesome.
Junk over there.
So give me New England.
You guys are just hoping
to cover the spread.
You guys are just hoping to lose more games.
I'm hoping to lose tonight. As a Pats fan, I'm hoping to lose tonight. I'm not gonna lie.
You want a good quarterback? Charlie's already doing his homework.
Well, I don't know. Like, I was gonna debate. We'll save that for another podcast. But I don't know how I feel about. I don't know whether to draft one, or maybe you explore for a trade for like a Matthew Stafford.
What about Jimmy G return?
Or Jimmy G. You know. Yeah, we'll save that for another podcast.
Yeah. So, anyways, we're gonna call it here, and for Eric and for Trevor, we'll catch you guys later.
Keep your stick on the ice.
Bye, guys.